Imagine the most effective science and psychology class you've ever taken in your entire life.
Okay, I'm picturing like a really intense university lecture hall.
Right, right, with the tweed jacket and everything. But now imagine the professor delivering these profound insights is not some old guy in tweed, but instead it's a bright green alien wearing a lemon-shaped chef's hat.
Oh, wow. That is a visual.
Yeah, it really is. Well, welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, our mission is to extract the hidden genius inside this seemingly simple children's story. It's called Zorg's Zesty Balance, the Great Galactic Lemonade Festival.
Such a great title.
It is, right? And we're going to explore how this super vibrant tale about a group of aliens making a summer drink acts as this, stealthy masterclass. It's teaching foundational life concepts without the reader ever even noticing they're being taught.
Which is so crucial. I mean, we often trap knowledge in these really dry, sterile boxes.
Yeah.
There's this pervasive assumption that serious learning requires a serious environment, right? A whiteboard, a heavy textbook, a quiet room.
No fun allowed.
Exactly. We strip away all the vibrant colors and the joy because we suspect that, I don't know, fun might distract from the actual lesson. But when you look at highly effective educational storytelling, you realize the fun isn't a distraction at all. The fun is the actual delivery mechanism.
And man, that delivery mechanism is firing on all cylinders here. So whether you are a parent trying to decipher, what makes a bedtime story stick in a toddler's brain, or maybe an educator searching for new frameworks, or honestly, just someone fascinated by how we distill these massive, unwieldy ideas for very young minds, you're going to find immense value in this breakdown.
Oh, absolutely.
Because there is a staggering amount of narrative architecture working behind the scenes of this fictional lemonade stand.
And the mechanics of how this story operates are entirely invisible by design. I mean, you look at it and you just see a cartoon.
Yeah, just silly aliens.
Right. But underneath, it is rigorously applying cognitive science.
So to see how that invisible education works, you first have to disarm the reader's defenses.
Right. Yes, completely.
And the story accomplishes this through sheer sensory overload. It instantly transports you to the colorful planet of Lemonia 7. And it isn't just like a random Tuesday on Lemonia 7.
What's the big deal?
It's the absolute peak of their year. It is the Great Lemonade Festival, which is their favorite summer holiday.
Establishing a festival setting like that, it immediately communicates to a child's brain that the stakes here are high, but they're joyful.
Right.
There's no looming threat, It is a space dedicated entirely to celebration and community.
Yeah, and the text paints this environment with these incredibly vibrant, specific details that just demand your attention. I mean, you have streets sparkling with these massive glowing balloons.
That's gorgeous.
And there's music literally floating through the air. You see friendly, multi-eyed aliens dancing alongside giggling robots.
Giggling robots is such a great touch.
It really is. And right in the center of the town square stands the undisputed focal point of the whole event, which is the biggest lemonade stand in the entire galaxy. And presiding over it all is our host, Zorg. The visual design for Zorg is just pure, unadulterated joy. He is this cheerful green alien wearing a bright yellow apron and, like I mentioned before, that hilarious lemon-shaped chef's hat.
I love the hat.
It's iconic. So he throws his arms wide at the crowd and he declares, "Let's make the tastiest lemonade ever."
Oh.
Okay, let's unpack this, because to me, this vivid world building feels almost like a cognitive anesthetic.
Oh, that's a really interesting way to put it.
Right, like it's given right before a shot.
Mm-hmm.
The brain is so completely overwhelmed by the bright colors, the glowing lights, and the giggling robots that the educational payload, the actual medicine of the story, it can just slip in completely unnoticed.
What's fascinating here is the precise linguistic tool the author uses to administer that anesthetic. It is called multisensory grounding.
Multisensory grounding, okay.
Yeah, the text doesn't just say, it was a fun party. It forces the reader's brain to simulate different sensory inputs all simultaneously.
Oh, I see.
Right, so we have the visual cue of glowing balloons. Then we have the auditory cue of floating music and those giggling robots.
Right, engaging different senses.
Exactly. And we even have kinesthetic imagery with the physical dancing of the aliens. In early childhood development, firing up multiple sensory pathways at once creates deep immersion. It lowers what we call cognitive resistance.
Meaning the kid completely drops their guard because they don't feel like they're sitting at a desk.
Right. They feel like they're standing right in the middle of a carnival.
Yeah.
By engaging the senses first, the narrative signals to the amygdala that the environment is safe and exciting.
Okay, so the brain just opens up.
Exactly. When a child feels safe and engaged, their brain becomes highly receptive. The neurological gates are thrown wide open. So the festival is essentially priming the canvas of the mind to absorb complex information without feeling the friction of traditional learning.
That is brilliant. But, I mean, a perfect festival where everything goes flawlessly doesn't really make for much of a story, right?
No, it would be pretty boring.
Yeah, a kid's attention will definitely wander if there is no conflict. So once that joyful stage is set and the brain is primed,
Yeah.
the narrative immediately pivots away from the pristine setup and it crashes straight into the messy reality of creation.
The transition from the idea of lemonade to the physical act of making it.
Yes.
And as anyone who has ever cooked with a toddler knows, that initial phase of making something is rarely precise.
It's a disaster usually. So the trial and error phase begins. Zorg steps up to his giant crystal pitcher and just starts mixing. And his process is incredibly chaotic,
Just winging it.
completely winging it. He gathers these fantastic sci-fi ingredients, fresh lemons harvested straight from the lemon moon, cool spring water, and sweet honey.
Sourcing from the lemon moon is such a clever touch, by the way.
It's so good. It keeps the galactic theme alive while doing a mundane kitchen task,
Mm-hmm.
but it's the action that really sells it. The text relies heavily on aggressive, engaging onomatopoeia. Zorg is just mashing the lemons into the pitcher, and the book screams, squish, squish.
Right, it's very tactile.
Yeah, and then he throws the honey in, and it's swish,
Oh,
swirl. It is loud, it is intensely physical, and there is zero measurement involved whatsoever.
That enthusiastic action, completely devoid of careful calculation, that mirrors the exact default state of a child exploring the physical world.
Just going for it,
Right, it is raw momentum.
which makes the inevitable disaster so relatable. We are introduced to Luna, a little girl visiting from Earth, who kind of acts as our human anchor in the story.
The proxy for the reader.
Exactly. So she watches this wild squishing and swishing, notes that it smells amazing, and eagerly takes the very first sip.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, instantly her face puckers up into a tight little ball, and she shouts, "Sue sour!"
The inescapable consequence of chaotic enthusiasm in a chemistry experiment.
Truly. And the comedic fallout of that sour sip ripples through the entire festival. The giggling robots suddenly freeze and start blaring funny alarm sounds. Beep, boop,
Oh.
sour alert.
That's hilarious.
And Zorg, the grand host who organized this whole thing, experiences this amazing physical reaction where his green antenna curls tightly into a knot on top of his head.
Oh, poor Zorg.
But here is the crucial moment, right? Zorg doesn't panic. He doesn't hide his face in shame. He just bursts out laughing, looks at the crowd, and says, "Oh dear, I think I added too many lemons."
It just owns it.
He owns it. And because the expert in the chef's hat laughs at himself, the entire crowd of aliens and robots starts giggling along with him. I kept thinking about this scene from a child's perspective.
How so?
Well, usually getting something wrong in front of a massive crowd is nightmare fuel.
Oh, absolutely terrifying.
The anxiety of public failure is paralyzing, yet the author actively chose to turn a highly public mistake into a massive punchline. I mean, does making the failure so exaggerated and funny with the robotic alarms and the curling antennas, does that intentionally remove the anxiety of making a mistake for kids?
Yes, 100%. It is arguably the most powerful psychological intervention in the entire book. Oh, yeah. We are dealing with an epidemic of perfectionism right now, not just in adults, but increasingly in very young children.
Wow, that's sad but true.
The fear of doing something incorrectly, of facing a sour alert, it prevents them from even attempting to participate. By making the failure exaggerated, public, and ultimately hilarious, the story systematically deconstructs that anxiety. It normalizes the error.
It shows that a mistake isn't an indictment of your character, it's just a data point.
Exactly. When Zorg's antenna curls and the robots beep, the world does not end. The festival doesn't shut down.
People don't point and laugh maliciously.
Right. The author is demonstrating emotional resilience in real time. Physiologically, when a child feels shame or intense anxiety, their body releases cortisol.
The stress hormone.
Yes, and cortisol actively impairs the brain's ability to process and retain new information.
It just shuts learning down.
Completely. By replacing that shame with shared laughter, the story replaces cortisol with endorphins. It keeps the learning pathways open. If you can laugh at the mess you made, you maintain the emotional bandwidth required to figure out how to clean it up.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
So the laughing diffuses the tension, but they still have a giant pitcher of undrinkable sour lemonade sitting there.
Right, they still have a problem to solve.
Exactly. They need a roadmap out of the mess. And that is when the narrative introduces the mentor figure. We meet Professor Pip, who is this wise purple alien who gracefully floats over to the lemonade stand.
The voice of reason arrives.
Yes, and Pip doesn't scold Zorg for wasting ingredients or making a huge mess. He simply uses the sour lemonade as a springboard for a new concept. Pip explains to everyone that making lemonade is all about balance. He tells the crowd, too much lemon makes it sour. Too much sweetener makes it too sweet.
Notice how neutral that language is.
Yeah, it's very matter of fact.
Yeah. Pip strips away any moral judgment from the failure. He doesn't say Zorg was careless or foolish. He simply states the chemical reality of the ingredients.
Which lets Luna, our human proxy, process that reality for the audience. She synthesizes the lesson, her eyes light up, and she says, so we need just the right amount of each ingredient.
She gets it.
She gets it.
Yeah.
Professor Pip smiles and confirms, adding that recipes work best when we measure carefully. Now, here's where it gets really interesting, because the concept of balance is a massive, highly abstract idea.
Oh, incredibly abstract.
If you ask a room full of adults to define balance, they will stumble around using corporate jargon about work-life boundaries, or they'll get bogged down in physics and architecture. It is an incredibly difficult concept to visualize.
It really is.
Yet this story takes that intimidating abstraction and distills it flawlessly into a single cup of lemonade.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, Professor Pip and Luna are doing much more than offering a culinary tip here.
What are they doing?
They are covertly installing the foundational operating system of the scientific method directly into the reader's brain.
Bro.
Think about it. When Pip says, too much lemon makes it sour, too much sweetener makes it too sweet, he is mapping out the concept of variables.
Oh, yeah.
He is illustrating cause and effect. He is showing the child that if you isolate and change input A, you directly alter outcome B.
It is literal chemistry happening on a cartoon alien planet.
Exactly. And when Luna deduces that they need the right amount, followed by Pip's mandate for careful measurement, the story builds a bridge between raw creativity and calibrated observation.
Right. It connects the fun to the work.
The child is learning that enthusiasm, the loud squishing and swishing, is a great way to start, but to get predictable, desirable results, you must introduce control and precision.
So they're learning to be scientists.
They're being trained to think like scientists, evaluating variables and adjusting their inputs without ever being burdened by the heavy academic terminology.
It's just so seamless. So having acquired this new mental model of variables and precision, Zorg heads into the second attempt, the retest phase.
Let's see how it does.
Well, the pacing of the text changes entirely to reflect this shift in methodology. We move away from the loud, aggressive sound words. The story slows down and details Zorg's deliberate actions.
So no more squishing.
No more squishing. He doesn't just throw things in. He carefully measures just enough lemon juice from the lemon moon. He adds just the right amount of cool spring water. He takes exactly 1 spoonful of sweet honey.
Very precise.
Very. And the text makes a point to say that instead of swirling wildly, he stirs the pitcher slowly.
The language mirrors the physical action.
Yeah.
The calm, focused sentence structure physically calms the reader down, contrasting sharply with that chaotic energy of the first attempt.
And the patience pays off completely. Zorg asks the crowd who wants to try the new batch, and because the fear of failure was eradicated earlier with laughter, nobody hesitates.
Right, they aren't afraid of another sour alert.
Exactly. Everyone wants to participate. Luna takes a sip of the newly measured batch, and this time she smiles and declares, It's perfect.
Success!
The result is a total undeniable success. The aliens cheer, the giggling robots resume their dancing, and the author brings back that multi-sensory language describing how the giant crystal pitcher itself seems to sparkle with happiness.
The return of the sensory details reinforces the success. The brain associates the calm, methodical act of measuring with the return of the glowing musical festival atmosphere.
But just when you think you have the story figured out, it executes this brilliant thematic bait and switch.
Oh.
Yeah, so the festival reaches its absolute peak. You have these vivid descriptions of aliens sharing their drinks, kids playing games, everyone laughing and enjoying the fruits of Zorg's labor.
Sounds lovely.
Zorg looks out over the crowd, beaming with pride at what his careful measurement has accomplished. But his final takeaway, the ultimate moral he delivers to the reader, it abandons the kitchen entirely.
Wait, really?
Yeah. Zorg says, the best recipe isn't just lemons and honey. It's sharing, friendship, and having fun together.
Wow. It takes a hard left turn from the physical mechanics of the world right into the social-emotional reality of the characters.
It completely reframes the narrative. I mean, we thought we were reading a story about the scientific method and precise variables, and suddenly it's this profound lesson about community and connection.
This raises an important question.
Right. Why would the author make that pivot? Why not just end the book by saying, and that is why you always measure your ingredients?
Right, stick to the science.
Yeah. How does linking a practical physical lesson about calibration with a social emotional lesson about friendship actually benefit the child reading it?
From a cognitive science perspective, that pivot is the mechanism that ensures the lesson actually sticks.
How so?
The author is engineering a positive feedback loop within the reader's mind. If the story concludes with Zorg simply praising the act of measuring, the lesson remains trapped in the realm of dry functionality.
It's just an instruction manual at that point.
Exactly, it's boring. But by intrinsically linking the mundane, often tedious act of careful measurement to the explosive joy of the party, the shared laughter, and the deep sense of belonging, the story attaches a massive emotional reward to a logical process.
Oh, I see. The brain takes the warm, fuzzy feeling of the alien party and wires it directly to the memory of Zorg, slowly stirring the honey.
Precisely. Memories encoded with strong, positive emotions are prioritized by the hippocampus. The story's whispering a profound truth to the child.
Which is?
That the patience required to balance variables and endure the frustration of sour alerts isn't just an arbitrary rule adults force you to follow. That patience is the actual vehicle that allows you to generate joy for the people you care about.
Wow.
It elevates a basic, functional, skill-like measuring into an act of community service. The child realizes that taking their time and doing things carefully is how they contribute to the happiness of their friends.
That is a wildly sophisticated emotional framework hiding inside a cartoon lemon.
It really is.
It wraps the vegetables in bacon. The reader absorbs this deeply complex behavioral psychology while thinking they're just enjoying a zesty alien adventure. It is brilliant.
Truly masterful storytelling.
So, as we pack up and leave the sparkling streets of Lamonia 7, let's distill the core takeaways from this deep dive. We explored how sensory world building acts as an anesthetic, lowering cognitive resistance to allow learning to happen.
Right.
We saw how humor, the curled antennas and robotic alarms, was weaponized to dismantle the anxiety of failure and build resilience against perfectionism.
We analyzed how Professor Pip introduced the abstract concept of variables in the scientific method by simply reframing a mistake as an issue of sweet and sour balance.
And finally, we examined the powerful positive feedback loop created when the practical skill of careful measurement is tied directly to the emotional reward of sharing your success with your community.
It's a lot packed into a few pages.
It really is. So what does this all mean for you, the listener? Because while Zorg's zesty balance is engineered for the developing minds of young children, the narrative architecture it relies on is entirely universal.
Oh, without a doubt.
The concepts of balancing variables, navigating failure, and seeking community, these are not things we age out of. We all struggle with the calibration of our daily lives, trying to find the exact right measurement between our careers, our relationships, and our own well-being.
It's a constant juggling act.
Yeah, and we all deeply crave that moment of shared joy at the end of a chaotic project.
The mechanics required to brew a perfect pitcher of lemonade on a sci-fi planet are fundamentally the same mechanics required to construct a fulfilling life.
The raw data might live in the textbooks and on the whiteboards, but we really need the giggling robots and the neon green aliens to actually teach us how to internalize it.
Which leaves us with a final thought to mull over, one that stretches way beyond the boundaries of Lamonia 7.
Okay, let's hear it.
If we accept that a child's brain learns the abstract concept of balance best, when the consequence of failure is a chorus of giggles rather than a stern reprimand, why do we design our adult environments to do the exact opposite?
Well, that's a good point.
Think about our corporate structures, our universities, our professional spaces. They are built to maximize the terror of a sour alert.
We really are.
Yeah.
One mistake and you're done.
Right. We have constructed a world that heavily penalizes the messy, enthusiastic squish and swish phase of innovation.
Yeah, we demand perfection on the first try.
Exactly. So what would happen to our own adult problem solving, to our stress levels, our creativity, and our ability to calibrate our own complex variables if we started treating our professional mistakes less like life sentences and more like a cue to let our antennas curl up and just laugh?
Man, it makes you wonder how much faster we could find the perfect recipe if we weren't so terrified of spilling the water.